Kapow, baby. That's how a real American does shit. All right? He cracks his natty light when he goes live. That's what the fuck it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. How we do without there. April 11th, 2019. We're fresh off the stage from the fourth wall, ladies and gentlemen. We're here and we're getting fired up. You know, we're defeating cultural Marxism one argument at a time. We're not giving in to the sneaks, to the women, to the Jews, all right, to the muzzies. We shall not be conquered. We will do the conquering around here. All right, it's time for the consensual Genghis Khan. We're doing it all voluntarily. All right, we're fucking them till they love us. What's up, Nitai? Ooh, I'm fresh off stage at the fourth wall, man. I was out there rocking it out, having a good fucking time. I honestly had some material planned. I was going to riff on, you know, how in 1920, the national debt in America was about $25 billion. And women got the vote. And about 100 years later, we're creeping up on $25 trillion in debt. So, seems like somebody's been out there with Uncle Sam's credit card at the fucking mall. All right? What's up, AJ? So I was going to go into that, man, but then the room got packed. A couple people hung around just watching the show, new people, and there was this cute little girl in the audience, and I didn't want to, she was the only girl in there, and I didn't want to fucking go after the women too hard, dude. You know, sometimes you got to call that audible. So I dug into the bag of tricks, man, and I rocked them, you know, talking about my hookup mishaps here in Los Angeles. And homeless encounters. You know, I was up there on stage representing America, though. You better fucking believe it, all right? I had the red sweater on with the blue jeans and the white cons. You know? I was up there on some Hulkamania. You know what I'm saying? I'm just waiting to go bald so I can grow out the rest of my hair and wear a goddamn bandana. You know, it's coming. It's coming, dude. I might even tear my shirt off on the podcast. It's coming soon, dude. But right now, you know, I'm in the Hollywood Hogan version of my career. I might even get a Harley. I don't know. Motorcycles scare me, dude. I honestly, when, you know, I talk a big game when it comes to the masculinity, but when it comes to driving at 60 miles an hour on the highway, on a motorcycle, those motherfuckers make me nervous when they're going past me, you know. I know I'm gonna see one of them just spill the fuck out on the highway eventually, dude. Fucking motorcycles, dude. I don't know, I might have to get into it. I might have to sack up, you know. Put my sack where my arguments are, you know. Flex a little American, you know, testosterone. You know, might have to get on it. I almost got a motorcycle instead of my car, but that was back in, maybe get a scooter instead. Fuck you, AJ. I almost got a motorcycle instead of my car, but that was back in Oklahoma, where they have inclement weather and a lot of bugs even in the summer. So you're going to end up like, you know, Dumb and Dumber with a fucking grill full of bugs when you show up at your destination. And that's not a good look. That was one of the main reasons I had to get out of Oklahoma was it's a bug life whenever the weather starts getting warmer and you finally get out of that, you know, blistering icy winter. You know, you get the reward of the sun, but then you're sweating all the time because it's humid as fuck and there's bugs everywhere. Not that good of a look. I like this dry heat on the West Coast, baby. But this wind has been insane. It's been fucking my eyes up the past few days, just blowing dust in my eyes and shit. I wear contact lenses, so, you know, my eyes are easily fuck upable. Got fruit trees in Oklahoma. My family didn't have no fruit trees, man. I don't know. My grandpa had lemons, I think, or peaches, some type of shit like that. But no, they grow strawberries. You know, that's not necessarily a tree. I think it's more of a plant. You know, my mom's and my sister, my dad back home, you know, they got a little garden rocking, growing cucumbers and fucking strawberries. What up, Cheap Jewish man? Have you come to haggle? Everything is at the price that it's marked. God damn it. Enough with your negotiation and your savvy free market skills. Had a first harvest of 3 accidental potatoes today in my field. Well, shit, those might be the best tasting. Them accidental potatoes, dude. You know, I like them little mini potatoes, dude. I like the gold ones. I like the purple ones. You ever had a purple potato, son? Ooh, I'll fuck around with a purple potato. Oh, dude, that might be the best potato. The fingerling potato. You ever have those, dude? I have those at a fucking catering event, man. You got them little fingerlings. I dig down on them. Put a little melted butter over the top, baby. A little sea salt on there. Ooh, shit. But yeah, dude. We're just out here being real Americans. You know what the fuck it is when I come on stage. Everybody knows, dude. Everybody knows. What up, Cactus? Yeah, baby. Sometimes you gotta get on stage and flex pythons, all right? Sometimes you gotta let motherfuckers know. You gotta let the communist subverters in the room know that you got a red-blooded, you know, dick slinger in their presence, all right? They gotta watch the P's and Q's. There's not gonna be no poking and sneaking tonight, baby. Oh, but I can't lie, dude. I'm in the belly of the beast. When you're out here in Hollywood, man, sometimes it's real American, sometimes it's this shit. Sometimes you gotta get deep down and dirty, baby. You know, you gotta show the dirt dogs how to do it. That's what I was doing on stage tonight, man. The room was packed with dirt dogs. I had to get wild, man. I had to get wild on stage. I had to call people out, you know, for receding hairlines, you know, the pot calling the kettle black. No, it was funny. There's this hilarious comic named Brendan. And he's bald on top and he's got hair on the sides, and he was sitting next to a dude who had shaved sides and hair on the top and a beard like me. And I was like, they were sitting right next to each other, and so I was like, man, you guys really complete each other. Where one doesn't have hair, the other one has it. Oh, dude. Sometimes you gotta fuck around with them. That's what I've been doing, liking going up on stage and just having something in my back pocket. And then just going up there, man, and just fucking riffing on whatever's going on in the moment. Cactus Jack says, Obama was spying on Trump. There's now new evidence. Big news today. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's all coming out, dude. It's all coming out. And they all made fun of Trump when he came out and said, oh, they wiretapped me. And it's just the most Trumpian thing ever to say wiretapped when it's obviously like, no, they're spying digitally on you, and they're recording you, but it's like there wasn't a literal tap in his phone, but they were sneaking, they were surveilling there, they were spying. It was spy versus spy, and once again, Trump is about to win. Um, I'm liking this guy Barr, the new AG. He's making me forget all about the little Keebler elf there. Um, what's his name? Sessions. That little rat fuck bastard nothing. God, he had a chance to, be a good part of the Trump administration and crack down on immigration and be a part of history. Instead, he just totally cucked out. And when the obvious bullshit Russia investigation happened, oh, I'm recusing myself. Oh, I can't be a part of this. Sessions was a total cuck. Like, I'm sure they had some kind of blackmail on him already. And it's like, what else could they bring out about you, Jeff? They already tried to link you to the KKK and say you were some, like, horrible racist motherfucker. And it's like, it's obvious that why are you kowtowing to these evil fucks in the deep state that obviously hate you anyway? Why wouldn't you just stand by Trump? But it seems like we got an AG in there with a set on him. He's got a package on him. And he's standing strong, dude. And they got a rock solid case. They went to the FISA court with that bullshit Steele dossier with the fan fiction about Trump getting pissed on by Russian hookers and tried to pass it off as legitimate intelligence so they could spy on the Trump campaign and get intel. And it's like, that was the real Russia collusion. Hillary Clinton and her campaign, and the DNC, they paid these Christopher Steele to get intel from these Russian sources in Moscow, these anonymous Russian dudes who are just like, yeah, I guess I confirmed that story. And then Christopher Steele just wrote whatever the fuck he wanted. And they took it to the FISA court. And of course, the FISA court never denies any of that because they're just like, oh, James Comey and Andrew McCabe, I mean, you guys are just God. I mean, why would we ever deny you? I mean, you're the prophets of the Federal Bureau. I mean, and so they don't get denied for that, but it's all gonna go back up the chain. If there's a legitimate investigation, which I always doubt because, the government is just corrupt to the fucking bone, and it's like, can they do anything efficiently? Can they do anything even approaching correct? It's like, it's usually an arduous process to even get them to approach correct. I mean, so fundamentally, I'm not holding my breath, but it does look a lot better. I mean, it had to blow up in their face to some degree when the Russia thing came out as complete horseshit. I mean, I've been calling it out on this podcast ever since I started it. We made the Russians hack the election satire video, the sketch, like almost 2 years ago. Like, it was like right after they initially started the whole Russia hysteria. And we all knew it was bullshit. The whole Outrage crew was on board. Because we actually read the WikiLeaks. And we know the Seth Rich story. We know the true story of the Russian collusion. And that it was actually the Dems trying to cover up for their suiciding Seth Rich for leaking the information to Julian Assange, and it wasn't actually the Russians hacking from across the ocean. It was Seth Rich, and a flash drive, and a little resentment, a little Bernie Sanders voter resentment against the DNC that led to some justified expose on their corruption. And then they were pissed about losing to Donald Trump, and it all wrapped into one, and they tried to have this Russia investigation act as a proxy so that they could have this thing putting pressure on Trump while they could try to demonize him in the public, and then behind closed doors try to oust him through whatever they possibly could, whatever financial crimes, whatever they could dig up or on the people around Trump. Oh, there has to be something corrupt, and they just used it as an excuse to like do a wide dragnet on anybody surrounding Trump. And it also, deterred people from coming in and helping Trump because they didn't want to get caught up in the Mueller investigation. And so Trump, instead has to rely on these, military industrial complex faggots like John Brennan or John Bolton and bring them in. And he's like, we need to go to war in Venezuela. And it's like, dude, fuck these guys, man. But it's like Trump, he needs loyalists around him in order to get some shit done. But it's like, that was a tough situation to bring anybody in when it was open season on anybody who was associated with Trump. So if you had any shady shit in your financial history or anything they could possibly dig up, it's like, that was another purpose of the Russia investigation. But it's all coming out, ladies and gentlemen. It will all be revealed in good time because you can't stump the Trump because he's a legitimate outsider president. All right? He's everything they desperately don't want you to know that he is. And it's going to be so juicy when I throw it in these leftists' face who I've been arguing with about this Russia horse shit for 2 years. When it all comes out that the FBI and these intelligence agencies that they've had all this respect for out of nowhere, like, it comes out that they're these treasonous bastards who just hate Donald Trump and were breaking laws left and right to try and take him out. Well, I can understand why you're not that optimistic, Anonymous Anarchy, because you understand that the government is a horrific, inefficient piece of shit system. And it fundamentally, can't get anything right. But if Trump can force the agenda through his social media, and now that the Russian investigation is over, he can bring in some people that are actually on his side, and because they're not afraid of, being called in front of the FBI and like questioned, and like if they have one toenail unclipped, they're going to jail, and it's like, you forgot to tell us that toenail was unclipped, and it's like this weird fucking tyrannical like side government they're trying to establish a coup with. It's like, now that that's out of the way, we may be able to get some shit done. Who knows? But I am with you, Anonymous. I mean, I never trust the government to get anything done. Yeah, the Best Buy people kicked us out, AJ. Yeah, we were getting wild in the Best Buy. I love it. We stayed in character though when she came up to us. It's like, it's Hillary. She knows, And she was like, what the fuck are these goofy motherfuckers? Yeah, it's Obama's government. Obama had one of the most corrupt regimes ever. And if the lens gets turned back on them, there's so many crimes they've committed. I mean, Brennan, like helping him fund, arm, and train ISIS in the Middle East with that fake intel that the rebels, that they needed to help the rebels against Assad in Syria. It's like, oh my God, you guys are so dumb. Yeah, Michael Flynn got caught up in some bullshit. That's like, that whole thing where they just, nobody who actually got indicted in the Mueller investigation had anything to do with Russia collusion. It was all based on lying to the FBI, which is insane that that's even a crime because, James Clapper, who, was he in the CIA or the FBI? I think it was CIA. Clapper, he went up and lied in front of Congress and said that there was no NSA spying. Oh yeah, the FBI can lie to you. James Comey stood up on national television and said that Hillary Clinton didn't commit a crime with her private server. It's like, you fucking snake, dude. And then I heard this podcast with Stefan Molyneux the other day. They were talking about James Comey's history as when he was younger, he was a straight out and out communist. And, these people's histories are just littered with bullshit. And like Obama surrounded himself with all these subverting fucking weirdos. Excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to put an eye drop in. My fucking eye is itching. Been getting dust thrown in my eye all day. Ooh, with all the dust this wind is kicking up out here, I'm starting to get a little bit of allergies and almost started feeling sick. But I had a lot of broccoli today, a lot of protein. We're staving it off, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, let me get a napkin. Yeah, the contacts are annoying. I need to get new ones. I've been on this same pair for like fucking 6+ months. You're supposed to take them out for after 3 months, but I can't afford no new ones. So we rocking them till the wheels fall off, ladies and gentlemen. Kim is threatening again. Well, he knows who has the bigger nuclear button, dude. I wouldn't worry about him. Oh, he knows what's what. Yeah, the Operation Fast and Furious. There was so much corrupt shit that went on. And, the whole thing with Comey letting Hillary off the hook. And then McCabe openly saying, like, in backdoor channels with Rosenstein, like how they're going to use the 25th Amendment to get him out, and they're just going to do anything they can to get Trump. And it's so openly criminal. And the leftist media doesn't report on it at all because it's like, yeah, by any means necessary. We just got to get that evil bigot. Yeah, I agree. Hillary is a good woman, to use for a punching bag. Like if you need a good, sturdy, kind of like Rocky, how he would beat the sides of beef, if you need a good solid punching bag to hang in your gym, Hillary's good for that, She looks like she could take a punch. The old side of beef. Oh, boy. You know what I think is going to happen? I think all of the Democratic candidates are so pathetic. I think Hillary Clinton is going to swoop in at the last moment and run. I think that's what's going to happen, dude. Is it too late for her to declare? It's not, dude. I think she's going to swoop in at the last moment and try again. Because that witch has a never-ending lust for power. All right? If she's not dead yet, she's going to try. Oh, yeah, the Juul. I didn't like the Juul, man. First of all, the pods are too goddamn expensive. And it doesn't give you that quality throat hit that the other vapes do. I don't know. You got to get used to this shit. But as long as you stay hydrated, it's usually pretty good. Speaking of, a little more water here. Keep the contacts lubricated. Think the vaping is killing my gains? I read that nicotine raises your testosterone. You know? Vaping and coffee. And I heard that caffeine is good for after a workout too. I don't know what you've been reading, Cactus Jack. No, I'm actually getting a little bit thicker now that I've been eating enough calories on my workout days. Because I think I just wasn't eating enough. You know? Because I've stayed pretty much looking the same for like 5 years. But ever since I started hitting up the Little Caesars right after the gym, and then eating that pint of ice cream, dude, would mix it up with the protein powder after that, and I get a lot of protein in because I get this. We got this tremendous protein powder here. The Body Fortress. It's got creatine inside, baby. So pretty legit, and it tastes fucking good when you mix it up with some vanilla ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Throw it in the blender. Oh yeah, I eat eggs every morning on my rest days. I eat four scrambled eggs, baby, and I get the broccoli in, and then I'm on that 80% lean beef. I'm on that red meat, baby. Got to get my iron, keep my feet warm at night. And I got that countertop grill, and it's hard. It's good. It's perfect for grilling burgers. You get them just nice and medium rare and juicy and delicious. But for chicken breasts, especially the thicker ones, it's hard to get it done in the middle without, making the outside too tough. But I be grilling up them burgers, boy. Want to get a pizza maker? My pizza makers work at Little Caesars. All right, I'm on that $5.48 pie. All right, and I get it in right after the workout, baby. The other day I was sitting there, and it feels so good after lifting some weight to go just put down like 3,000 calories in carbs, and it's just like, ugh, just fucking rush of dopamine. And it's a good feel. But the Little Caesars, they don't have a table or chairs to sit down and fucking eat. If they're named after a dictator. I can't think of anything more tyrannical than selling pizza but not offering a place to sit down and eat the motherfucker. And but it happens to be in a strip mall that's right across the street from a Starbucks. So I go over and sit at the Starbucks tables and eat my pizza. And scare people by eating an entire pizza and getting big in front of them. And the other day there was this lady there who had a dachshund, a little wiener dog on a leash. And as soon as I opened up my pizza, the wiener dog came up to me and was like, and just barking over and over. He wouldn't shut up. And this lady was just looking at her phone, just not paying any attention. And I was like, bitch, you got... And the dog had it wasn't, the dog wasn't neutered, so it just had its little dog balls there shaking out in the open, I'm like, lady, I'm trying to eat. Your dog is shaking his balls at me and barking. This is fucked up. I'm not giving him any table scraps. God damn it. I felt like, pulling my own sack through the zipper and just flexing on that dog, dude. Like, what now? Huh? You think you're the only one that can sit around here with balls out in the open? That would have shut him up quick, dude. These goddamn hateful wiener dogs. I used to have wiener dogs though. They were pretty. They're goofy, man. It's short little legs. Yeah, I don't know if I get my dog neutered. I don't know if I have the heart to do it. It seems kind of fucked up, you know. And you got the creepy old fucker you used to have on The Price is Right. Bob Barker would sit up there and make a point. Like, get your dog neutered. Cut your dog's balls. And it's like, why do you give a fuck about this so much, you old weird creep? Let the dogs get their fuck in. All right. Got to let the dog have some joy in life. All right. My parents had a chocolate lab, and they were taking him to get neutered, and my mom, she had the window cracked in the car while she was driving him to the vet, and he could feel something was fucked up. So as she was driving down the road like 40 miles an hour, this big chocolate lab scrabbled his way out of the window and jumped out of the fucking car. He had his tail ran over, he cracked his hip bone. So he had that nub tail after that, and he walked a little funny for a few months, but he ended up being all right. But boy, he could feel that neutering was coming. All right, he could feel it in the air. All right, beer number 2. We're getting the Dragon Energy fired up, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Raw Dog? Cheers, McNasty. Yeah, buddy. I just got another request on one of my screenplays. So I have all 3 of my screenplays being currently read out here in Hollywood. And so it feels good, to get that read request, because, while I'm out doing Postmates, I basically have the entire catalog of all the emails of everybody I've ever emailed on my on my saved history on my Gmail. And so I have basically the entire Hollywood managing house and agencies and all of these emails from everybody I got from IMDb Pro. And so I just go on there and I pick out the ones that I've sent before, and I hit send again on my phone, and I'm constantly, while I'm out doing Postmates in my downtime, resending off these emails, because it's just a total numbers game. Like when you're not repped, when you don't have friends out here that can get you into the industry, you just got to like shotgun all these emails. And you just put the title of the script and the genre in the subject line, and then you put your log line, which is like the 1-sentence description of your movie, and then the pitch, which is like comparing it to other movies, like the combination of it. And the one that's getting read right now, it's called White Trash Hero. All right, it was called Hillbilly Hay, but that's an inside joke between me and Kevin Pollard Jr. We came up with the name of it. The script, usually it's a minute per page. So if it's a 90-minute movie, it's going to be a 90-page script. So it's usually around between 90 and 120 pages. But that goes quicker. It seems like more than it is, because it's like it's spaced out, like it's in script form. So it's really about 60 or 70 pages of real writing. But yeah, this one's called White Trash Hero. All right. And the log line is: a notorious trailer trash burnout is recruited in an MK Ultra plot to assassinate the president. And the pitch is, it's like the Big Lebowski meets Pineapple Express. All right. So it's this wild action comedy. I want Danny McBride to play the main character because I love Eastbound and Down. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but you need to watch it. Um, where Danny McBride is the used to be great Major League Baseball pitcher, and then he flames out, and it's all about him trying to become like a substitute teacher and um, all this weird shit. But I love Danny McBride is the point, and so I've always been fascinated with the MK Ultra thing. Like that's how it blows my mind that these leftists can be like, oh, we've got to trust the intelligence agencies, and they have them up on these shows on CNN. And it's like, oh, we just take everything they say as gospel because we don't like Trump, and he reminds us of the bully in the schoolyard. And so somebody protect us from the bully, Trump. And it's like Trump is just trying to do good things for you. He's trying to make the economy better. He wants to make you rich. Meanwhile, what the fuck has the CIA ever done for you? Like, what's up, Burgess? Yeah, dude, that's what the script is about. It's about MK Ultra, where the CIA goes into West Virginia and they try to find the dumbest, most aggressive, and easily, easily propagandized person to make into a patsy because they're planning on assassinating the president and blaming it on my main character. His name is Hayworth Hill. All right? Genuine West Virginia hillbilly. And I know about them West Virginia hillbillies because my grandpa was one. Okay? And I used to go around and do a bunch of carpentry work with my grandpa. And he would take me to Oklahoma Sooner games. And it was real confusing. It was real confusing because he was a giant football fan, but he still maintained his racism. I'm like, Pop, how you don't like the people we just spent 3 hours watching? But so I'm real familiar, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia, that documentary, but I rewatched it. Did he play ball? I don't know. He fucking snorted ball. No, he used to do all kinds of drugs before I was born, but then he kind of cleaned his act up a little bit. That was one of his redeeming qualities. He managed to stop being a psycho alcoholic and smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day. He quit all of that shit, once I was born because he wanted to be a better example. All right. But yeah, we would hang around at Pop's house all the time, man. Just because my mom was real family oriented, and no matter how crazy they were, she would take us over there, and so he definitely inspired the character. But I just like the idea of kind of like the what's that movie called? One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson. That was based on MK Ultra, where they would go into like these nut houses or these. A lot of the times it was veterans hospitals, and they would dose people with LSD unknowingly. Well, the patients didn't know it. Oh yeah, Pop always wore a Sooner hat. He called himself Sooner Jim. And so that they would go in and dose people with LSD just to see what the fuck happened and see if they could control their minds. It's called MK Ultra mind control experiments. There's a whole Wikipedia page about it. It was like this large scale thing that happened all throughout these universities and all through these veterans hospitals all over the country. And so I was always interested in that, and so I combined this crazy West Virginia party character with the MK Ultra thing, and so he gets wrapped up, and all these CIA people are trying to turn him into a patsy to admit that he assassinated the president. So that one's getting read, and I also have a blaxploitation comedy. About a black dude, who gets fired from his job and divorced from his wife, and happens to have a gigantic dick, you know, and he finds $10 million under the bed in his hotel room and decides to start a porn career. All right, and it's called Panther Tale. And it's about the people who left the money trying to get this shit back from him while he's out, you know, slanging that dang-a-lang. Is it really difficult to be in the CIA? I don't know. You know, CIA affiliated. Yeah, they didn't. I don't know if they're trying to give LSD a bad name. I just don't. This was back in the '60s when the experiments just started, so they didn't really know what the fuck it did. They were like, it was this new thing everybody was, you know, curious about. And so of course the government's first instinct is like, oh, can we control people's minds with it? That's the only use we have for it. Can we make our propaganda more digestible with this drug? Yeah, it's that research. You know. But the leftists have totally lost all of their skepticism toward government agencies since, you know, the original hippie movement. What the fuck? We love the deep state now. Now that they're against Trump, they're with us. But I love that, you know, it makes identifying people's ideologies really easy when you just bring up Donald Trump and see what people think about Donald Trump, because he's the ultimate litmus test for whether or not you can see through the matrix, whether or not you can see through the mainstream media propaganda, you know, whether or not you actually question government as a fundamental institution. If you can see past all of the vitriol and everything they're spraying on Trump and be like, well, they're probably hiding something, because Trump is brash and he's a narcissist and he exaggerates shit all the time, and he's a shit talker and he's a roast comic basically, but fundamentally he's not an evil guy. He's not out to get you. That's what Alex Jones had always said. Trump's not out to get you. Whereas most of these establishment motherfuckers in the intelligence agencies and in the government, they're out to get you. They're trying to take whatever they can get. You know, they're trying to expand power. They're trying to, you know, get rid of the First and Second Amendment. They're trying to, you know, have a spy folder on you through the NSA and get rid of the Fourth Amendment. They're turning the fucking frogs gay. They're out to get the frogs. What do they think? What do you think's coming? What do you think they're not coming for you? They're going after tadpoles, dude. They're propagandizing tadpoles through the public school system. All right? They've got to get them young. Nancy Pelosi wants tadpoles to be able to vote. All right? And we're not standing for it. They're trying to make trans tadpoles, dude. I will not stand for it. These tadpoles, they're not gender fluid. All right? They may swim around in fluid, but you're not going to give these tadpoles, you know, gender reassignment hormones. Not on my watch, dude. You know what the fuck it is. Leave them tadpoles alone. We're fighting for these fucking tadpoles out here, dude. Tadpole lives matter. Real Americans, baby. That's what we're about. All right? It's not about the flag, it's about the principles. All right? You know, I would always watch those. I love Bill Hicks, but he would have those bits on nationalism, and everybody thought it was anti-American, but it wasn't. What he was saying is that it's not about the symbol. You know, I think Bill Hicks was fundamentally a libertarian, but he gets worshipped by a lot of leftists because he trashed Reagan and Bush, and he was always talking shit about Republicans. But they needed to be talked shit about at that point in history because they were in the ruling class. They had all the power. Right now, what's funny is Trump is the president, but through all the mainstream media and all the universities and all the fucking schooling system, the leftists have the power. The cultural Marxists have the power fundamentally. They've accumulated it through all of this subversion that's built up through Hollywood, through mainstream media, through all of this shit has just seeped into the culture, and that's created a form of power for the left. And Trump is just there as the resistance. And so it's like it's cool to tell truth to power, but it's like Donald Trump he's in the head power position, but he's actually representing the underdog, which is strange that just straight white male Americans have become the underdog. And it's like it's going to take a while for people to realize this shift that's happened in culture, because everybody still like calls straight white males privileged and like, oh, we have all this power, and it's like it's not even real anymore. Like, there's diversity quotas written into laws. There's all the affirmative action is still going on. Like, you can openly demonize white people and not get banned off of any social media or anything. Like, you can just talk shit about white people all day as a general group and not get any blowback. That tells you right there who has the power. All these big tech companies, all the mainstream media, the whole Hollywood complex is totally fine with demonizing straight white males openly. And so it's like, yeah, we really have a lot of power. Like, no, dude. The counterculture is freedom. And so I think if Bill Hicks was alive right now, he would be on Trump's side. He would be against the social justice, progressivism horseshit, because that's the most egregious form of tyrannical, control going on in society. Yeah, Twitter, in parentheses. The snowflakes had a protest at your school in 2016? Yeah, dude. I don't doubt it. Yeah, AJ, the leftists love Bush now. I've heard that multiple times. Like, oh, can you believe how terrible it is under Trump? I've never had anything make me miss George Bush more. It's like, what? A million dead Iraqis? Some mean tweets. It's really a tough call. Well, now we see that you don't have any principles at all, and you're just trying to achieve your leftist agenda by any means necessary. You're on your Saul Alinsky playbook. Yeah, every kid with a Twitter account is liberal due to the Twitter leftist bias. That's another one, late night TV. All leftist, all pumping out propaganda. Like, it's literally like It's insane. And you have to be awake to see it. Because, if you don't recognize the falseness of that ideology and the lack of logic to it, then all it looks like is all these people are unified against Trump. And it's like, well, they can't all be coordinating, in some evil plot against Trump. It must be that Trump is bad. That would seem to be the simplest solution on the surface, that Trump is the bad guy. Because if you accept that Donald Trump is actually the good guy in the equation, relatively, comparatively, and he's actually fighting for, free markets and making the country better, making the country great again, if you accept that, well then you have to look at all of the mainstream media. You have to look at all of the late night. You have to look at all of the establishment politicians. You have to look at all of the intelligence community. You have to look at all the late night hosts. All these people that come out, all these celebrities that come out and trash Trump. And you got to be like, they're all wrong. And so that's a big paradigm shift for people to do. It's like the propaganda is a thick ass diversity syrup that they got you guzzling. People are out here guzzling that diversity syrup, dude. And it takes a lot to reframe the way you look at the world and get on board with Trump. And Trump doesn't exactly make it easy to get on board with him, if I'm being honest. Because he's such a shit talker and he's so narcissistic and he's so goddamn rich and white. I mean, he's everything that the leftists hate. So he's definitely not winning any. He's not winning any fans over from the left, because it's like, number one, they have to reject their entire identity culturally and see that they've been lied to in this crazy way, and all of the schooling, and they have to look at the government as this fundamental evil, which it is. But they have to wake up to this shit. It's like such a realization. To accept that Trump is the good guy is like a mushroom trip in itself, where you're like, oh my God, everything is a lie, And so it's like so jarring to people. And so they're like, how can you support Trump? Everybody hates him. And it's like, I don't know. I think for myself. I see things. It's like the Sixth Sense. I see corrupt people. Oh, I see some subverters. I see the cultural Marxists. And it's like, we can't see it. It's like, what up, 1,000 Yard? Yeah, left and right are both fools who follow blindly. Yeah, there's so many traps you can fall into. You can fall into the left versus right paradigm. You can fall into the social justice fight. You can fall into Antifa versus the Proud Boys. And like, there's all this tribalism you can get into. But that's why Trump is the ultimate litmus test, because he proves, if you can look objectively at what's happening with Donald Trump, then you can think for yourself. You can put all of the social shaming aside. You can put all of the cultural and social propaganda aside, and you can be like, let's look at an objective valuation of the facts. Donald Trump didn't collude with the Russians. He made billions of dollars in the New York real estate industry. He had the biggest reality TV show on TV. He ran for president and won on his first try against an old, corrupt, haggard bitch that was a 30-year veteran and had the entire mainstream media on her side. And the entire mainstream media that you're supposed to trust supported this old, corrupt hag, this bedraggled sea hag, despite, getting the debate questions from CNN and obviously being corrupt as fuck through her private server and the Clinton Foundation and like all of these weird deaths that happen with people that supposedly have information on the Clintons. Even though she supported, a no-fly zone in Syria, basically, we're going to shoot down Russian aircraft. Even though she had an instrumental part in collapsing Libya, and which resulted in, modern open slave trade. Even with the whole Benghazi thing. Even with deleting all of the email evidence when they were investigating her. The mainstream media and all these leftist late night TV show hosts, they supported that. And so you got to wake up to the fact that they're not thinking. They're just acting in their own personal corrupt interest to try to go along with the political flow and keep getting their paychecks so they don't be the nail that sticks their head up and gets hammered down. So it's a big realization, but it's happening slowly. All right? Little by little, people are starting to realize that Trump is not the bad guy in this equation. Yeah, my parents supported Bush, and I had to have a talk with them even after the Iraq War. I was like, and my parents are kind of like half-assed Christian. They're good moral people, but they're not like deep in the biblical text. They're not going to church every week. They're just good down-home, rural Oklahoma people. Not necessarily even rural. I mean, my hometown has about 25,000 people in it. They're just small town, good, hard-working people. But even after the whole Iraq War thing, they were still like, Bush was a good guy. And it was like, man, they listened to Rush Limbaugh and shit. It's like, man, there's a whole lot of smoldering brown bodies in the Middle East because of weapons of mass destruction. My mom is still, she believes in God and everything. And I went to battle with her when I was like 12 and 13. I was just becoming an atheist, and I tried to show him a bunch of Richard Dawkins documentaries and, and, it's just a comforting thing for her. And there's nothing wrong with it. Because she acts morally in the world. But I did have to, sit down and I was talking to my dad. I was like, man, it's almost 1 million dead people in Iraq based on a lie. And George Bush said, mission accomplished. He's not a good guy. Like, he's a war criminal. But it's hard for people who work all day and just come home and have beers and watch Fox News. It's hard to get them to get out of the partisan back and forth, because they can see how fucked up the left is, but it's based on this partisan tribalism. It's hard for, simple people to come to these, complex philosophical principles and then evaluate everything based on those principles instead of tribalism. I mean, it's just, we're hardwired for tribalism, to find our crew and then defend them despite their flaws, So it's hard for people to have a rational evaluation of the facts. But, just have the discussions with them. Dad, I'm going to engineering school. Did you? Okay, then. No, they're not. they respect my point of view because they know I'm deep in the research of this shit and I live it day to day, and we have fun conversations now about politics. Every now and then, I call up my parents and we have these long talks, talking shit about what the idiot leftists are up to now. And it's like, it's cool because we're kind of unified now, and they can recognize that like John McCain wasn't a good guy, and they're not that partisan. They can recognize that John McCain was a fucking psycho, because he made it easy, coming back, with a brain tumor and voting for keeping Obamacare. You have to have a brain tumor to vote for Obamacare and be a registered Republican. What about the Ten Commandments? They're pretty good commandments, except for those first few where it's like this like insecure narcissist God where he's like, no, you can't believe in any other gods. I'm the only God, okay? It's only me, nobody else. Don't cheat on me with any other gods, okay? Don't even think about it. So God kind of got, white girl wasted and wrote those first couple of commandments. But as far as don't murder, don't steal, don't rape, don't assault, like that's the bedrocks of Western civilization, baby. That's why you got to respect the Christians, because they got that universal principle. All right, I'm going to take a federal outrage piss here and come back and read some more comments and grab another beer. Be right back. Oh, these allergies are fucking my eyes up, ladies and gentlemen. I got them itchy eyes. Ooh. Yeah, Rush Limbaugh is pretty boring. Carlin said they came down from a hill where nobody else could see them and said, yeah. They gotta hype up, the fantasy element of the morals to make them super attractive to people. If it wasn't spoken by a magic man, why should we believe it? So especially for lower IQ people, it helps if you sprinkle a little magic in there, because logical consistency doesn't always, rise to the top of the hierarchy for everybody. But that's the thing. These Republicans in Congress, some of them got to grow a sack, all right, and start going after the Democrats. Even if it's just purely political, like they're in the right to do what they're doing. They've got to go after, these ideological, criminals in the deep state. They got to go after them. They got to go after Comey. They got to go after McCabe. They got to go after Rosenstein. They got to go after, these crooks. They got to go after Clapper. They got to go after Brennan. They're all in on it. So hopefully the partisanship can finally work in our favor and they can actually get some shit done. And then it will reveal to the country objectively that these people that are against Trump aren't against him for some noble cause. They're against him because they have participated in criminal behavior and they don't want Trump to expose it. And that Trump's actually the good guy in the equation. So that's the only way it's going to be proven to the public, is if they get some kind of objective ruling, pseudo-objective ruling through the government that, no, actually these people that were going after Trump for this horseshit Russia thing are the criminals. And because you've still got people all over social media and all over the news like, oh, just wait till the full Mueller report comes out. Like, dude, if there was any collusion, if there was anything that they could nail Trump on, it would have come out a year ago. This has just been a dragnet to try to slow down any progress in the administration. So most of these wars are about the heroin trade and stuff, and oil and stuff. Yeah, I would say to some extent. And it's also just trying to extend influence by these power-hungry weirdos in the upper echelons of government and corporations that are connected to them. So they want those fucking high-end government contracts. They want to be able to topple regimes and place in people that are friendly to their agenda and basically control populations by proxy across the oceans over there in the Middle East. Yeah, the more you find out about Hillary, the more you realize if she goes down, most of the federal government goes down too, meaning unlikely. Yeah, that's the key to draining the swamp. They have to go after, the heads of it. If you want to kill the snake, you got to chop off the head. All right? And, the Obamas and the Clintons still are holding sway based on these, leftover deep state cronies that are in there trying to fight everything Trump is doing. And so they're never going to stop. Like, you've got to bring the indictments for the crimes and prove objectively in the public's face that they're the ones who are the criminals. I mean, those are the campaign promises, Burgess. Lock up Hillary and build the wall. All right, we shall see if it gets delivered now that the Russia horse shit is out of the way. Oh, it'd be a beautiful day. It'll be a beautiful day to see that side of beef in a nice orange jumpsuit. Because it just represents having an actual justice system that doesn't play favorites. Otherwise, what separates us from a third world country that's super corrupt that you just buy off the elites? Yeah, the reports have been handed in. We're waiting for the indictments. Well, we shall see. If we get an AG with some stones, Barr seems to be decent. All right? You just don't be a commie sellout. That's all we ask. Don't be out to get us. Oh, these allergies are fucking me up. I had an almost sneeze right there. That's the worst feeling in the world, the almost sneeze. I love a good sneeze, dude. But hopefully they do. They have submitted the indictments there. We shall see. But this whole thing is like a fucking Tom Clancy novel just unfolding. My veins are popping, dude. I'm a real American. All right? Bursting at the seams with dragon energy. That's how it is, dude. Oh, my eyes are so itchy. God damn. It's annoying, ladies and gentlemen. Itchy Eyes McGee. Pelosi says she trusts Mueller. I'm looking at Drudge Report here. Barr swears, I will not withhold derogatory info in report. He says spying on Trump campaign by Obama administration did occur. Yeah, it's got to go all the way to the top. You got to go after the big fish. All right? And you can't stop because they're not going to stop. Hillary for 20. I think she's going to come in. Swoop in, and try to save the Democrats because they have no candidate right now. It's Bernie or bust, which is just hilarious, dude. Good luck, burnouts. No refunds on donating to that campaign. Good luck trying to sell socialism to the American public. Let me blow my nose here. Oh yeah, I hope Hillary comes back because it'd just be doubly hilarious if she loses twice. Then what book are you going to write after that? What happened? Part 2. I fucked it up again. I don't know. I don't know if she has the balls to try to do it again. But she's just so power hungry. And why not, I mean, she's probably going to end up going down for her crimes anyway. So the number one thing to avoid going down for your crimes would be to win the presidency and absolve yourself. So that might be her only strategy for staying out of jail at this point. Yeah, 1,000 yard. I think that's what it is because, maybe it was going to be Biden, but he's flopped around and handled this whole like touchy-feely situation so terrible that it's like I don't even know if he can recover from that. And he is a straight white male. So he's not left enough for the crazy lefties. So I don't think he has a chance. Beto can't even fill up, a high school auditorium. You see that? Beto couldn't fill up a small little high school auditorium. And the people came out with like Beto shirts on, and they were like, the reporters were asking him if they actually were planning on voting for Beto. And they were like, oh, well, we're kind of just here for a class assignment. So he has no support. And so, like, it's all Bernie. And the DNC doesn't want Bernie, obviously. If you read the WikiLeaks, they really don't want Bernie. They're burned out on that 80-year-old communist who combs his hair with a balloon. They don't want him. Because they rightfully know that America is never going to vote for a guy who calls himself a socialist. As propagandized as the American public has been over the past 20 to 30 years, we still have enough sense, to not vote for a socialist and to not give our guns up. We got a little more dragon energy than that. All right? We got a little more dragon energy than that, ladies and gentlemen. We're not voting for a socialist. It's not going to happen, baby. No. Come on, dude. You fight for what's right. Trump will put the leg drop on Bernie, dude. He'll give him that Hogan rile up. Like when you think Hogan's dead, you thought Trump was dead with the Russia investigation, but all of a sudden he puts that shoulder up on the 3 count, and he starts hulking out, dude. America's back. What you gonna do, brother, when the Trumpster starts tweeting about you? I think that was a kill shot. The Joe Biden tweet that Trump put out. Joe Biden sniffing his own neck. That's that fucking dragon energy kill shot, dude. He talked about Beto's hand gestures, and that's all anybody can look at now when they see Beto. That's that meme magic. Dude, the memes went out in the end, and the left can't meme. Hillary's got so many memes against her. That's what the only thing going against, like, her having the balls to run again. But I think the power lust will outweigh it, and she's going to step right in to that guillotine once again. Because there's just enough apathy on the left right now. Like, Pokemon go to the polls. Yeah, her pandering, trying to be culturally relevant is just like so pathetic. Having seizures in interviews, just. Heaven is still currently here. Well, not currently here. I don't know where she is right now, but she's on the way out. I told her 30 days. She just doesn't have a job. You know, she owes me like fucking $2,000 for back rent. You know, it's just not working out, dude. At some point, you gotta tell women no. No, I'm not supporting you any longer. I'm gonna try to make do on my own. So I'm gonna be out there on Postmates, man, running that car into the ground until I can get this manager job and work my way into the Jewish conspiracy. I'll let her know, Raw Dog. You might take her in, dude. Yeah, she's cool. She's just a little, you know, she's too all over the place. You know, she plays it up on the podcast. She's fun. But, you know, she comes from a wild ass history. She had crazy ass parents and shit. And it's like, she's just too volatile. I don't need all of that, man. I'd much rather have the volatility of trying to make rent by myself. You know, and then maybe I could actually bring some girls over here beside her. You know, it's just time to move on. Because originally we were just hookup friends. Like, I met her on a dating app out here. She was the first chick I met in LA. And, you know, we knew it wasn't fundamentally going anywhere. We weren't going to get married or some shit. We weren't going to have kids. But we just ended up, you know, living out of the same hatchback. Because she wanted to get out of her parents' house. And I was already, you know, I had to get free of this psycho dude that I was living with who was addicted to cocaine and video games and his parents' money. So I had to live out of my car for a couple months. And she wanted to get away from her parents, so we were living out of the car together. And then we got the apartment. We made that happen, you know, but it's time to move on. Can't turn a hookup into a housewife, dude. What's up, Chipperson? Yeah, Coke and video games. I was actually pissed off that the dude kept playing video games because I wanted to write a screenplay with this dude. He had apparently had, you know, a novel he wrote get optioned out here. I don't know. He was a pathological liar, so it might have all been bullshit. But he had this great story about a post-apocalyptic future where this dude was an engineer and, like, created this new technology in the post-apocalyptic world, and he had this whole sci-fi story. And so I was like, fuck it, let's write this screenplay. And we'd be doing lines and shit and sipping whiskey and beers and shit, and I'll be perfectly in the creative mood, and then he would want to play video games for fucking 10 hours. And I'm like, dude, I gotta move on. And then he got real dramatic and shit. He got real paranoid. Shocker for a coke addict. He got real fucking paranoid. And, you know, it was his birthday. And he got real, like, emotional about his birthday. And he had moved his girlfriend in. he was like threatening to kill himself if she didn't stay for his birthday. She wanted to get out of there, and he was like, "Oh, I'll kill myself." It's like this big giant Viking motherfucker who was like supposed to be masculine and like have his shit together, but he was like, I just figured out he was living off the money of his parents and like not personally responsible for any of his shit. And so he was dangerous. I had to get the fuck away. So I was like, fuck it, I'm living out of my car. And, you know, heaven was there for me. You know, she helped me get back into the apartment complex, helped me get a roof over my head, you know. But it just, the money dropped off and off and off. And it's like, can't do it. Yeah, screens kill creativity. I've heard that before, 1,000 Yard. There's something to that, man. Like, all the input we're getting, like, people don't have enough downtime. They don't have enough meditative time. They don't have enough time to live in their own headspace and figure out what's going on in their own subconscious and, like, really tap into something creative. Because that's when you're bored, that's when you get creative. Like, people have, like, they're constantly inundated with entertainment and, like, you know, and so every now and then you got to decompress and just be in your own thoughts to be creative. And so, like, where is the great music now? It's all mumble rap. It's all pill-addicted mumble rappers who can't even get a sentence out. And it's like, those are the biggest music stars right now. There's no, like, great Led Zeppelin rock band that's, like, innovative and you know, kicking ass. Like, there's nothing. There's no, like, all the comedy is watered down and, like, just talking about your dick and, like, how debaucherous you are and how much you love sodomy, and everything's all watered down. There's no, like, the closest thing to a innovative, legendary comic we have right now are, like, Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr. And even them, they're like, they don't really step outside the lines that much. I lived with Owen Benjamin. Oh, shit. No, Owen's on, you know, he's on that dragon energy. He doesn't need the cocaine. I have sent multiple emails to Dolev and Owen Benjamin. So if anybody, you know, wants to send a proxy email for me to open for Owen Benjamin. I know he's looking for another opener. You know, he seems very insulated where he's living right now, and he's, you know, he's building up the farm and the family and whatnot, but he's got to get back out there on tour and back on stage, dude. That's his fundamental, you know, identity. Got to get back out there on stage, dude. You need an opener with Dragon Energy. All right, I'm right here, dude. Hit me up, Owen. I would love to fucking kick it with you and have some goddamn stage time. Maybe one of these days. Burgess says, one day I took an old Jewish lady to her door. I got her from the hospital and it was rainy. I kept my umbrella over her at all times. All right, you helping out the old Jewish ladies there. Do it, bruh. He said, once we got to the top, she invited me in and showed me her Holocaust tattoos. I was like, holy shit. Damn, that's hardcore, dude. Them Holocaust tattoos. AJ says, nobody has to discipline themselves anymore to be a model. They have Photoshop and Instagram. Anyone can look pretty. Yeah. The whole Instagram culture is so shallow. It's like, I don't know what to think about it. Like, but people are craving depth. They're craving authenticity. That's why Jordan Peterson, just by saying clean your room and like drawing some truths out of biblical stories, got so huge so quick, and pointing out the flaws in identity politics. close the windows here. My feet is getting cold. But yeah, they're craving authenticity. That's why, Rogan is so big, because he has these long form interviews that go deep into ideas, and people are like really digging into that, and they crave it because everything is this soundbite culture, this clickbait, this like what's the most salacious thing we could say to get attention, and it's the outrage culture. And so people are craving depth because they're being deprived of it in the school system. Yeah, Rogan's kind of cucked for sure, because he doesn't take a stance on any views. He just, has a big platform because he's open-minded and talks to everybody. But yeah, if you're looking for, that's the introductory step to like depth of ideas is Rogan. So if you're kind of interested in that type of stuff, then you can get into it through Rogan, and then you can find different stuff through the guests he's had on and whatnot. But he should goddamn read some Ludwig von Mises and some Murray Rothbard before he starts going on his podcast promoting universal basic income. Fucking Andrew Yang might make a run on the left. Yeah, Rogan, he doesn't have any principles. And so it's all like, just based on, positivity and make people feel good. And, that interview with Kevin Hart was kind of like, I respect Kevin Hart's hustle. And he's obviously, one of the biggest comics in the world. And he does this fucking thing, works his ass off. But his whole philosophy about, I don't engage in negativity and I just stay positive. It's like, that's not how culture and society moves forward. It's just turning a blind eye to every controversial thing and just being positive. And there's a certain value to that, but it's like you have to identify the snakes in the garden, or else the garden goes to shit. You have to have principles that let you identify what's fucked up about society. Otherwise, we don't make progress. That's what's funny about the progressives. All the negative things that the progressives point out are like issues that have been solved like 50 years ago. Like, there's no real problem with racism in America. There's no real problem with misogyny in America. The problem with racism now is against white people. There's no fundamental problem in institutionalized racism. Well, the only laws on the books that have anything to do with race are against white people. It's affirmative action. It's diversity quotas. That's the only things written into law that have anything to do with race. There's nothing on the books that benefit white people. But this whole positivity thing, Rogan's on that too. Like, oh, just be nice. If everybody could just be nice and smoke weed and everything would be fine. And it's like, no, there are evil people in society, Joe, that don't want to be nice. And so you can't be nice to evil people. That's not going to help you get rid of evil. You got to point out evil. Drug war, gun control, stop and frisk are bad for blacks. Yeah, the drug war is kind of it's tapering off for sure. There's marijuana is being legalized everywhere. Like, I think we should get rid of all the drug laws. Um, and gun control is bad for blacks. So I definitely don't support any kind of gun control. It's retarded. You, as a human being, should have the freedom to own any kind of self-defense tool you want. Stop and frisk, is that still going on? I feel like that was a Giuliani policy that's kind of been done away with. Yeah, I think drugs should be legalized for sure. Because it's prohibition. People want drugs. You're not going to solve the problem of people wanting drugs by outlawing them. All you do is empower the cartels and the criminals to have a black market. And the government's fine with that because then they have a constant supply of criminals in order to go after and justify their existence. You know? Oh, come on, Anonymous Anarchy. You can't say you still want meth to be illegal if you're an anarchist. You got to live up to your name there, buddy. I mean, meth is terrible. Don't get me wrong. But you got to let people make their own mistakes. I mean, I think SSRIs are terrible, but they're legal. They're advertised on CNN in prime time. May cause suicidal thoughts. May cause you to shoot up a preschool. It's just a troll name. Are you not really an anarchist? How dare you, sir? What up, Skeezer? He says they need to make the crack store at a different location than by the weed store. They don't need crackheads trying to hold $1. Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of those drugs would lose their luster if they were legal. Because then there would be no taboo to it. There would be no forbidden fruit to it. It would just be like, you would just be considered an idiot for doing meth. Like, it's obvious. Like, you just put the education out there, you put the information out about the drugs, and people let people make their own choices. Yeah, let's make murder illegal, then nobody will do it. Yeah. I mean, it's so dumb. All it is justifying government's existence. You know? All it is them, you know, furthering the need for, you know, more and more government intervention. What's my stance on abortion legalization? Well, abortion is, I think it should be legal, but you're addressing the, it should be more about prevention rather than cure. Because once you get to the point of needing an abortion, there's so many steps that you missed as far as contraception and like being responsible with your dick or your pussy. There's so many steps you missed. It's like it's an emergency situation. And so, like, I don't know. I look at abortion from a biological point of view of like if the baby can survive out of the womb, if it's to that point in development, you really shouldn't do it. But do I think there's a law? There should be a law against it? I don't know. That's where it gets tricky. I think it should be done through social ostracism. You know. It definitely shouldn't be encouraged and celebrated. I mean, getting an abortion, especially past the point where the baby can survive outside the womb, should be looked at as like doing heroin or meth. It's like, oh my God, you did that? You know? It's got to be done through social ostracism. Yeah, having laws for it gets tricky because where do you draw the line? Well, thank you, Thousand Yard. I try to be honest here. You know, Raw Dog says microdosing meth for good study habits gets a bad rap. Well, I'm definitely not opposed to that legal speed. I've done Adderall a couple times, and it's a good fucking time if you want to be up at 3 a.m. and feel like it's 9 in the morning. It's not bad. But I have actually microdosed a little bit of meth before. It was not enjoyable. I took a pinhead-sized pinch of it, and I was up for 3 days, and my dick did not work for any of those days, and I was miserable the whole time. I thought it was going to be something similar to Coke. I'd take a little bit, tiny, 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 tiny amount. It was just horrible. All right, I got to piss one more time. I might do another beer. My eyes are feeling better. A little more water here. What up, Thomas Jefferson? Do I know about flat Earth? What should I know? I trust all of the satellite photos from NASA. NASA has never lied to anybody. Why would I distrust the government? I mean, I am an anarchist libertarian, but I mean, when it comes to science and space, the government never lies. Okay? I don't know. I haven't seen, real compelling evidence for flat Earth. And so I'm just going to go with the default position that we're on a spherical Earth and there isn't a unified conspiracy among physicists and scientists at NASA to make everybody think that the Earth is a sphere. Oh, dude, NASA has that lasso around the sun. They take it down every night. That's that hard working, That's government money well spent. I am really conflicted on whether or not we went to the moon. My current position on it is that we actually went, but we faked some of the footage. Because it does make sense that, how could we live stream on TV the moon landing? Yeah, I've listened to Bill Cooper on the moon landing. The way the astronauts move with all the weight on their backs doesn't add up. So I think some of that footage was faked for theatrics. But whether or not we actually went, I don't know enough about, radiation and the Van Allen belt and like actual physics to say definitively one way or the other. Um, would I put it past the government to fake something like that? Not at all. Not at all. Um, because I don't trust the government to do anything efficient or do anything well. They're stealing your tax money. I mean, they're a pack of criminals that's constantly full of shit with everything they do. Like, why wouldn't they lie about that? Thomas Jefferson says, so we're just spinning ball space monkeys? That seems to be the case. Seems to be the case, man. We're on that blue marble. Yeah, dude. The sun, in parentheses, the Jews all control that. The Jews are in control of the solar system, all right? They got a high average IQ. Of course, dude. Yeah, the moon landing footage looks. I think most of the conspiracy can be explained through that. That Kubrick helped them fake some of the moon landing footage, and that explains why the cover up of the data and all of that, like, because they couldn't actually show it. That would be one of the main things they would want to do. Like, if they spent all that money to go, they would want to prove that they would want to have the big theatrical event that they're showing that they're on the moon. And flex on the Russians, But as far as flat Earth, I think we're on a sphere. I think that's how it goes, dude. Don't ask me to prove it. Because that gets troublesome. All right, fuck it. I'm having one more beer. One more beer for the Outrage crew. Hit that like button, paypal.me/Outrage TV if you want to donate to the beer fund. Some of the earth is flat. Just look in the Midwest, I'm from Oklahoma. We got some hills, dude. If the earth is flat, then what's on the edges? Where do the oceans go? Did it just pour off the side, or is there an ice wall? Flooding in the Midwest right now? Shit, maybe. I haven't heard from my parents in a couple days. Who knows? They could be underwater. It's that ice wall. Ooh, shit. That's why they don't let you fly over Antarctica. You don't want to discover what the Jews are trying to hide. I think Trump needs to take the ice wall away from the edge of the earth and move it to the southern border on Mexico. you know? And the ice wall just got 10 feet higher. It'll melt. All right, just listen to Al Gore. All right. If you don't pay your carbon taxes, the ice wall around the flat Earth is going to melt, and you know the oceans are going to start pouring into the universe, and then you know the opposite, the Pangea is going to keep happening, and the continents are just going to fall off the edge of the planet. And that's no good, dude. That's going to be the next action movie with The Rock. You know, when the ice wall at the edge of the earth melts and The Rock has to get in a helicopter and lasso the continents back onto the planet. And it's all going to be funded by the Jews. All right? Just to troll the flat earthers. But I do respect the skepticism of the flat earth position, because it is interesting when you just think from that baseline of a principle of what can I prove empirically? Because that's a good, healthy mind state. What can I prove empirically? You know, what can I actually verify with my own experience? And if you think about that, there's very little that you can actually verify with your own experience. You have to trust sources, and data and statistics, and there's so much shit we take for granted. And so it's a good mind state to be in, to question everything in that way and go from first principles. I mean, if everybody thought that way, we'd have a lot freer of a society. If everybody questioned why they paid their taxes, and why it's justified that another group of human beings get to justify taking tax money from everybody else, just stealing income from everybody else and funding their own operation with it. And then why they get to run the public schools and teach us all that it's all necessary. Like, if everybody had the kind of flat earther skepticism, I think we would have a lot freer of a society. But everybody just takes shit for granted, and listens to their pill popping rappers, all right, and watches their porn. Yeah, AJ, I think there's an element of that there's controlled opposition, and flat earthers kind of, make conspiracy theorists look bad. Oh yeah, pill popping rappers, you know what I'm talking about, 1,000 Yard. Future. Fucking all these motherfuckers. Percocet. Molly Percocet. What happened to Tupac, man? What happened to... What happened to this shit, man? I mean, it's gangster rap, but still. At least it'll get you fired up. There's none of that anymore, dude. Tupac would have been down with flat Earth. You gotta respect the skepticism. It's a healthy skepticism, dude. You gotta apply it to the state. You gotta apply it to the Jews. You got to apply it to the Muzzies and even to the Christians. Pay the tax goyams. There you go. The goyams are the tax cattle, and therefore they shall be demonized in public. But they also have privilege. And Jussie Smollett can blame them for hate crimes and put on his aviator shades and walk away scot-free. Oh, the privilege. Can you imagine being one of the white dudes that gets blamed for the Jussie Smollett hate crime if he actually pulled it off? And you're sitting in a jail cell watching him cry on ABC. I'm the gay Tupac. I fought the fuck back. And you're just like, what is happening? And the guard's like, you don't have any privilege anymore. This is 2019. It's time for reparations. All right? You owe Jussie. Your ancestors hated Jussie. So you get to pay for it. You filthy goyim. You hate him because he's black, Jewish, and gay. The Jews created rap music. I've heard that theory. You know, they got that high IQ, dude. They knew it was going to sell. All right? They're hard bargainers. Sigrid, AJ, I'm not into musical experimentation, dude. I'm all good on music. People are like, oh, you can discover new music. It's like, man, I got Led Zeppelin, I got Black Sabbath, I got, early 90s hip hop. I'm good. My workouts are fueled with good music. Rap music is just covert Satanism with a beat. Yeah, they are pushing a lot of subversion, celebrating the thug culture. It's not great. The combination of the welfare state and thug culture through rap music is really like, there was something authentic and rebellious about it in the early 90s, but now it's just like thuggish for the sake of being thuggish. And it's like fake and manufactured. It's like they're not even gang affiliated anymore. It's like, it's just an image. It's literally do what thou wilt Satanism. Yeah, there's an element of that for sure. It's just all about materialism and fucking bitches. And there's no logos. Yeah, drugs and killing. But there's an element of that that's like in the early 90s, there's an element of that where it's like a horror movie. It's fake. And it's like it's meant to get you hyped up, and it's hyper masculine. And it's like there's nothing wrong with watching a Tarantino movie where a bunch of people get shot up. It's like it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go out and do the shit. But when it coincides with the welfare state and the single motherhood and the absentee fathers in the black community, it's like, oh, there really is a lot of horrible shit going on. And, it's not getting better by perpetuating this shit. But, there's an element of fantasy to it that's kind of fun. The CIA and Tavistock. I was just talking about the CIA earlier. I'm more, I'm more interested in the MK Ultra projects they were running, where they literally, it's not the ideological subversion. It's the subversion of we're locking you in a room and dosing you up with LSD and seeing what the fuck happens. I'm trying to turn you into a patsy, son. You're going to be useful for this government. But the leftists all think that the CIA is all above board. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just because I grew up on the shit. But I don't know. I have a soft spot for 90s hip hop. I mean, there's that element of human psychology where it's like you gotta, especially with masculinity. I mean, you got to get some energy out at some point. So it's not all bad to listen to a Tupac album and get fired the fuck up and then use it for good. But it's like, not every song has to be a Christian, rock ballad about being a great person. What up, Aaron Freeman? Yeah, I've listened to a little Jurassic 5 here and then. Back when I was cruising the underground hip hop forums. Raw Dog says, look into lobotomies. Back in the days, they were all the rage. Yeah, that's the danger of letting the government define who's mentally ill. Because I don't like this talk, even on the right, of like, we don't have a gun problem, we have a mental illness problem. It's like, well, how do you define mental illness? Who gets to define what's mentally ill? Because if the government gets to define what's mentally ill, it's not going to be very long until libertarians are considered mentally ill because they don't want to pay taxes. Oh, the Goyim don't want to pay their tax for breathing, eh? Sounds quite mentally ill. It looks like you'll have to be taken care of. I think the transgenders are mentally ill. I think they're just mentally ill gay people. And it's being celebrated. Celebrate the subversion, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, celebrate it. Ooh, the more debaucherous we can get. I need one of them lobotomies. That's my problem. I got too many brain cells. I need to have them extracted through my nose. All right? And I'm sure the Jews are going to make that decision for me sometime in the future. And hopefully, the Outrage crew will have contributed to my fund enough, my Arsenal fund at paypal.me/Outrage TV. Because they got to be able to afford, a decent arsenal of weapons here to stop the Jews from turning the frogs gay. They're not going to turn my tadpoles gay. All right? Not on my watch. What up, Steven Johnson? Yeah, gay marriage. Why do the gays want marriage? Who gives a fuck? We need a contract with the state for this butt fucking. What? Why? Like, is there gonna be a kid in this equation? That's the creepiest shit when two gay dudes adopt a kid. It's like, it's like borderline child abuse. So you're like butt fucking in the next room and doing meth, and like you're raising a kid now. I'm sure he's going to be well adjusted. They just want the progressive points at the cocktail parties. You know, we have a kid now. We're a real family. No, you're just two creeps, all right, that, you know, are skirting the law. What up, isn't no? I did unfortunately go to college. I originally went as an engineer and figured out I was going to hate that life, and smoked a bunch of weed to figure it out, and realized I was in the wrong spot. You know, realized I was depressed as fuck. And, you know, you could tell I was depressed because I was taking exorbitant risks with my freedom, smoking blunts in Oklahoma in the parking lot of, you know, outside my residence hall there. And so I was like, I don't want this to be my everyday existence, being a fucking engineer. I don't care how much the salary is. I'm going to be fucking miserable. There's no salary worth, you know, submitting to misery. So I failed out of that shit, partially, you know, deliberately, because I could do calculus, I can do chemistry, I can put my nose to the fucking grindstone and learn this shit, but it wasn't fucking worth it. So and then I came back home, reevaluated, and I was like, fuck it, I want to be a stand-up, I want to be a screenwriter. And so I finished out the last couple years of college getting an English degree, which was totally worthless, but I did, you know, make a connection with Kevin Pollard Jr., who was coming out to Los Angeles. And so that was the value of college to me, was making a little connection there, and, you know, having a dude to crash on their couch when I came out here to LA and get my shit started. So that's the only value of college now. I mean, don't do it if you have to pay a bunch of fucking money. It's not worth it. I still got college loans hanging over my head, and it's not worth it, dude. But you might meet somebody that'll change your life and change the direction of your life. That's the only value of it. Tell you a joke? Well, let's see. Here's one of my classics. So you always hear that you know, this shit that we're all equal. Everybody says, oh, fundamentally when it comes down to it, you know, we have our differences, but we're all equal when it comes really down to it. And the people who say that we're all equal, to me, all that means is you really haven't played sports and kept score, all right? Because when you're playing sports, you've come to realize it's just not that equal. Because, you know, my high school basketball team was the hardest working team in the nation, all right? Our coach was a complete dickhead. He would make us run suicides all day, and he was an asshole. But we were the hardest working team in the goddamn nation. But our whole team knew, fundamentally, deep down, when we traveled out of town to one of them urban areas, we knew deep down none of that hard work bullshit was going to matter, all right? We would show up, you know, we'd be all gassed up, man. We've been listening to our coach. We've been running our plays right. We'd show up and the other team didn't even have a coach. We were like, they were just shooting dice on the sideline and fucking rolling blunts. And we're like, what the fuck? Do they know that we're about to play a game? Are they ready? And then the game would start and we would realize what the fuck was going on. We'd come down, and the first pass we'd throw would get picked off, and you'd be running back in transition trying to find the ball, And you'd be like, where'd the ball carrier go? And he's above you at that moment. He's soaring above you, and his balls are kind of like in a mistletoe position above you. And the only thing you have to kiss is your own ass goodbye as you get dunked on in front of your whole team. And your teammates don't even give a fuck what team they're on. They're taking cell phone videos of the shit. I don't give a fuck. This is going on World Star Hip Hop, They didn't have a coach, man. They had the hype man from the N1 mixtape tour. While I'm standing there getting crossed up and shit, dude's standing there with a megaphone like, oh, baby, sizzle. And anybody who gets dunked on, they got to take their jersey off and go sit down. By halftime, man, it was just, a pile of Caucasian sadness on our bench. We just had to forfeit the shit. So different people are better at different shit. We're not all equal. After the game, I would try to even things out. Y'all are good at basketball, but how's about a little philosophical debate on geopolitics, fellas? What do you say? And they're like, nah, we're going to party with your cheerleaders. And I was like, oh, I guess they're partying with their cheerleaders. All right. So, we're not all equal. We're better at different shit. That's what makes multiculturalism interesting. All right? But that's why, the blacks, they got to recognize the white IQ. All right? We got an IQ edge on them, but it's not white supremacy because the East Asians and Ashkenazi Jews, they're on another level from the whites. So it's like, you just got to respect the high IQ, all right? We got to let white people make some decisions in society and everybody will be better as a benefit. White people have some good ideas. We came up with a little thing called the Constitution. We came up with electricity and smartphones and the internet. We're not all privileged sacks of shit. Yeah, that's the thing, Anonymous Anarchy. Whites don't stick together. They don't have in-group preference. And there's a reason for that. It's because white people as a group, it doesn't fundamentally make sense because we're all from different European backgrounds. I mean, you got German and French and British and Norwegian and fucking Czech and Polish and like all this different shit, Italian, all different kinds of white people. What's up, Denise? I'm from Oklahoma, where the waving wheat sure smells sweet and the wind comes right behind the rain. Thomas Jefferson says that's why they're so stupid and violent. Well, there is a sweet spot for criminality when it comes to IQ, and it's around 85, which is where the American blacks are. But I think they do have a certain kind of social intelligence that the average white person doesn't have. So they're a little more connected to reality on average. But that's why white people are so susceptible to like self-hatred and this like, pathological altruism. Like at least black men want to keep their cocks on average. It's mostly white dudes that are chopping off their cocks trying to be transgender people and buying into the leftist horseshit. Like, these black dudes on average, they have the high testosterone at least. So they don't usually hate themselves as much as the average, white dude does. So I find myself getting along with black dudes way better because they're down with like making fun of each other. there's that fundamental ethic of like, I love you, but fuck you at the same time. Sounds like I buy into what, Thomas Jeff? I'm buying into what? I just feel more comfortable around black people that don't hate themselves versus white people who do hate themselves. Because I can't trust a motherfucker that hates themselves. I mean, even if a black person is wrong on what they're talking about, at least they're going to be honest with you about how wrong they are. And then they'll listen to you a little more than, the average, cloistered leftist white dude who's like trying to be a feminist to get some pussy on the sneak tip. It's like there's a fundamental honesty that black people have that a lot of white people don't seem to be comfortable with. That's why, I'm friends with a lot of black comedians out here, because it's the ethic of like not hating yourself and being able to roast somebody else. I'm not saying black people stick together. There's a lot of fucking there's a lot of black on black crime, don't get me wrong. And there's a lot of like, infighting among black people, like light-skinned black people and dark-skinned black people and like actual African people and American blacks. Like none of them get along. There's a lot of problems. But there's a lot of problems in the white community as well. Then they're more political and philosophical. And they're not so shallow. But I think it's important that we reach out to black people and get them to wake up to this Democratic plantation. That's why the whole Kanye thing is super important. I mean, you gotta hand it to Kanye for coming out and putting on that fucking MAGA hat. That's huge, dude. Because they're a huge demographic. If the blacks vote Republican, it's over for the left. They're the key demographic in America. If they vote for freedom, it's over for the left. If they get off of the welfare plantation, it's over. Skeezer got that fire dank, dude. Ooh, wait. Yeah, rappers love Trump, dude. Yeah, it's not the blacks or the whites, it's the Jews. Yeah, the Jews they're tricky, man. They got that high IQ with no moral responsibility. They're just out here fucking freewheeling and dirty dealing. They're trying to haggle down, dude, and they're controlling the Federal Reserve at the same time. Who let women vote? That's the real problem. Yeah, that's what I was planning on talking about on stage tonight. I went a different direction because the room got hot, and I was like, let's just roll with some classic shit. But yeah, dude, I did some research, and in 1920, women got the vote, right? 1920, the national debt in America was $25 billion. 100 years after women got the vote, we're creeping up on 25 trillion. Somebody's been taking Uncle Sam's credit card and going to the mall. They're like, oh my God, I want to buy the welfare state. And it's like, honey, that costs $20 trillion. And she's like, but the poor people, don't you care? And it's like, oh, God damn it. She's not going to fuck me if I don't let her buy the welfare state. God damn it. And that's why, I vibe more with the black people because the black people are like, nah, fuck that. She not getting shit, but this dick. And white dudes are like, I'll give her anything she wants if she just lets me have the pussy. And it's like, you gotta beat them. Thomas Jefferson, you're the most based, hardcore commenter I've had on the stream. I salute you, sir. I salute you. All right? You're bringing me back to the based. All right? We're going to that strong foundation. Fuck these bitches and fuck these hoes. You got to have a little Sean Connery in you. Sometime you've got to slap a bitch. They just keep pushing and pushing, and sometimes you've got to slap her. Dude. See, that's the difference between that's that real American, but it's also this at the same time. Sometimes you got to get gutter on a bitch. You know, you just got to get gutter sometimes. You got to be like, bitch, let me tell you what. You guys know what the fuck it is. You get it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun as hell. I'm out of beers. I gotta piss again. You know, I'll spare you, another outrage flow, and I'll wrap it up for tonight. But follow me on Instagram at Nick Jordan himself. Follow me on Twitter at I am Nick Jordan. I'll post the full audio on Outrage Cast, all one word, on all the podcast apps. Hit that like button if you like it. Share it out if you want to share it out to your motherfucking friends and families. PayPal.me/Outrage TV if you want to donate to the Outrage Fund. Keep this train rolling. Yeah, dude. Subscribe to it. I go live every night at midnight after the open mic. We come on here and we talk truth. We talk shit. We get to the bottom of the rabbit holes, ladies and gentlemen. We dig deep. I appreciate y'all bad motherfuckers coming on here and commenting. Big salutes out. Big cheers out to you. You know? Much love out to the Outrage crew. You the baddest motherfuckers on the planet. Oh no, don't report my sexism to the Jews. Go ahead, baby. Go on ahead. I ain't scared. Missed out on Clean Talking John earlier. Oh, you followed him on YouTube and shit. Was he going live? I saw him at the mic tonight. Clean Talking was up there ripping shit tonight, dude. I saw him. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow night. Same Outrage time, same Outrage place. Stay outrageous, you bad motherfuckers. And I'm going to get a nice heavy sleep in tonight and come back with full force dragon energy. And we're going to defeat the Jew, Thomas Jefferson. Glad to have you along on the stream. Hope to see you back. Hope to see all you bad motherfuckers back midnight Pacific time. tomorrow night.